Today we are making Japanese style ramen.
Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Alex from Zaku, and today we are cooking ramen. Yeah, we're gonna do a simplified version. Try to use some instant ramen or these packet style ramens more on the toppings to really elevate your ramen game. We're using this pork belly here today and making pork chashu. So we're gonna make a very standard classic style pork chashu. In addition to that, we're adding this flavored oil, blackened garlic oil. So this one's actually really flavorful. It has a very distinct flavor, really pungent. It really kind of pushes through right near ramen. So having those two ingredients just to your instant ramen is gonna bring your game to a whole new level. So let's give it a try. First step. And I think pork bellies can come in very different sizes, right? Sometimes they could be really wide, they could be more thin, right? Like a slice of bacon. This as well, right? If you can see it from the side, it's just like a piece of bacon, what pork belly should look like. And what we're doing here first is we want to shape this into a proper chashu. And to do that, we are going to roll this together and put it together in a circle like that, which will make your chashu. So to do that, first of all, we wanna make this, so the top part, all right, always comes with this layer of fat, and we wanna put that down over here. And then when you put it down over here, sometimes it's not even, or there are little bits and pieces, right, that are in the way. So you kinda wanna trim those, right? So using your Gyuto, you can pull on pieces that are not desirable, right? And put it to the side. You can just add these to your little stir fries or anything for another day. And you just wanna make sure you have an even And when you see a pork belly, there's usually a thicker side and a less thinner side. So how we're gonna roll this together is that we're actually gonna go from the thinner end and we're gonna tightly roll this together and see if that comes together. And as you roll this, you wanna make sure, right, so that there's not too many holes in between and you can hold them tight. And don't worry if it's not perfect. That's where this string comes in. So we can actually put that together. And as this cooks, they're gonna come together and stick and become a roll like this. You want a long piece of string, just in case, right? You can cut it at any time. So here's a piece of string. And take your pork together. And first, when you put your pork together, you want to create a small loop, like a little lasso here. And you can see that. And put another string through there. And this is your base to putting your pork together, okay? So I'm going to put this around to one of the sides and pull on it, kind of like a necktie. All right, make sure everything is put tight and pull. And once you have that, you just kind of want to go around evenly and make sure it's tight. Get all ends of this. And this will help the pork not only just get, all right, put together, but this will also help the pork cook evenly throughout because it's the same thickness. And make sure you get the sides as well, because as we start cooking these, the pork does really expand. So you don't want the sides to kind of bulge out. Okay, so try to get an even feel for that tie. And once you get that, you can make a double knot anywhere so the string doesn't come off. All right, how does that look? Pretty fair. I think it looks pretty good. All right, so now that we have the pork belly rolled, we're ready to cook this. And in creating chashu with the boil style, it has main 3 steps. At first, we're gonna actually do the pre-boil, right? This is the process where I actually cook the meat, tenderize it. Also use a lot of aromatics because pork tends to have a little bit gamey flavor sometimes. To kind of get all those impurities out, we're gonna do the pre-boil. For aromatics today, we're gonna be using ginger, some garlic, of this naganegi. All right, so ginger, we can just slice them. And let's take a clove of garlic, and maybe we can just slice it in half and just give it a little crunch. With the tip of our naganegi, we can just take this off, and we can use the whole thing. Okay, so I think the water is almost to a boil. So this process, we're gonna be boiling the pork for at least an hour. If you have more time, maybe you can do maybe around 2, but leave it to that because if you do too much, then the meat gets too hard or it starts decomposing. So I'm gonna put the meat in here and then put the aromatics in there. And for this naganegi, you can just go wild, twist it, and this really brings out, right, the flavor out of this thing. And you see the tip over here is not fully submerged in water. So in these cases, you can obviously add more water, or another easy tip is if you have any type of paper towel or a kitchen towel, you can just lay it over to the top, and this will help bring the water up and help it cook evenly. All right, so we're gonna cook this for an hour. We'll do a check-in and see how it's doing. Maybe flip it halfway and see how this goes. All right, see this guy later. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take out and separate the soup and the pork, and we're actually gonna make or start cooking our pork in our actual marinade. So let's go do that. Here's our pork, looking really good, juicy, plump. Pork back into our pot here. And we were able to extract, say, about 500 milliliters of the pork soup. So we're gonna add that to our base. And to that, we're gonna add even amount of water. Then we're gonna add soy sauce and mirin. So for the soy sauce, you can add several different types of soy sauce to blend this. It'll actually bring out more depth and flavors. This is a common technique used by many ramen shops. I actually learned this in ramen school as well. But today, for simplicity, we're just gonna go with one. We're gonna do another 100 more. And here's mirin, right? Mirin is basically a Japanese style cooking wine that is very sweetened. So it's a natural sweetener, but also has the effects of your cooking wine. And we're gonna do 100 milliliters of this. And lastly, to add some more sweetness, this looks like a lot, but this is brown sugar, and we're adding 100 grams. Okay, so now I'm gonna put the heat back on and let the pork simmer for about an extra hour from here. And this is where the pork really starts sucking up all the goodness and coming to become a really tasty chashu. Our chashu has been cooking for an hour plus now, and it is looking really good. So the last process for the chashu is that we actually need to cool this. And the whole cooling process is when all the actual juices and flavors go into the meat So this process is definitely necessary. So what we're gonna do is put this block of meat into this Ziploc bag with all of the juices. We're gonna put that back into the refrigerator, where you wanna cool it for at least 4 hours, maybe even overnight would be ideal. But then you'll have your perfect chashu. So make sure you're not handling hot stuff. So make sure they're cooled down and then take it slow. Now I'm gonna seal this. Trying to get as much air out so you get a tight seal. And off this goes to the fridge. So we're gonna use a lot of aromatics in this oil, and we're actually gonna cook them slow in oil until they actually literally turn black. And we're actually gonna use a blender to get that all the goodness in it. And this will be the flavoring flavor oil at the end. So let's get to it. Ingredients here, starting with garlic, of course. This is the main piece. All the other ones are optional. So we have ginger here. You can definitely use onions. You can use some spring onions or leeks or negi, right? They're all kind of part of the onion family. So you can add those to your liking. We have 2 types of oil. So one is just normal vegetable oil. And this can be replaceable with other oils such as, let's say, grapeseed oil, avocado oil. Generally, you want to use oil that has a high smoking point, right? So extra virgin might not be the best option here. And another one, right, to add more like umami flavor, we're using lard, right? So this is a packaged lard, but when you're cooking, right, bigger pieces of meat, or even the chashu, if you had a bigger piece, you can just shave off a little piece of that fat and actually render it. And that's also great lard. So we're gonna put them all together. Over here. So this is just regular vegetable oil. And also add some lard. And don't worry, we're gonna not be consuming the whole thing, and this will last in your refrigerator for a while. So we can just have a batch. And this oil is gonna be very versatile. You can use it for ramen. You can actually use it for a little stir fry. You can use it for your fried rice. Really brings out the flavor. So why not make a little extra? Okay, so now that we have all the ingredients in here, just gonna put the heat on. You can start with medium heat until all the fat renders, and then we'll turn it down low and cook it slow. And this has been cooking for quite a while now on low heat, and you can see that all the aromatics have turned literally black. And it really smells really good. But at this point, it's really gonna start to smoke, and you wanna make sure that you turn off the heat when it starts smoking, because it really accelerates the whole cooking process. So once you hit the spot, you kind of turn it down. Quite smoky here. And now we're gonna take out all the green onions, right? Because these things are quite fibrous and you don't want them. So we're gonna actually blend this later. We're gonna take this out. And it kind of looks like this. And we're gonna go into this. And if you're afraid of it, you can wait till this cools down a little bit, which might be safer, but we'll take it slow. And there you have it. This is the blackened garlic oil. You can tell that's really hot, so please be careful when you do this at home. I'll introduce you to the Gyuto knife. So this is one of many Gyuto knives that we offer. but this one's really easy to handle. And I kind of want to compare it to the santoku knife that we've showed. And I think these two knives are the most popular and most versatile types of knives. So if you were to choose your first zaku knife, or if you're trying to look for your first upgrade, right, buying your Japanese knife, I would recommend either the santoku or the gyuto. And let me try to explain the differences. First of all, right, all our zaku, not all of them, but this one comes with VG10 steel. So very durable, top premium quality steel, stainless steel. And then you can also see, right, the Damascus pattern, which is definitely beautiful. And the handle here comes with the light walnut, light grip. Compared to the santoku here, due to the material, it's a little bit lighter. So the balance is slightly more on the blade here, whereas this one just overall is a more, let's say, I wouldn't say heavy is the word, but let's say you can really get that push. And the usage is slightly different. First of all, the length of the blade, generally Gyuto tends to be a little bit longer, right? And it's also less, it's a little bit thinner, or let's say the height, not thin, but the height tends to be less than the santoku, right? And how does that make a difference? So santoku, as we mentioned earlier, it's good for cutting meat, fish, and vegetables. So in terms of vegetables, a lot of vegetables in Japanese cookings tend to be like root vegetables. So you do a lot of push cutting, right? Where the nakiri, right, is the champion for that. But santoku also works really well. Whereas the gyuto here is more similar to a European style chef knife. And therefore, it's really good for slicing, right? It has the longer blade, so you can use that whole length of that blade to cut your meats, carve. But again, it's not too long like a carving knife. Therefore, it's quite versatile in cutting vegetables as well. So hence it's an overall all-rounder knife. Other points to note, the blade shape, right? Gyuto here has a slightly round shape, right? So when you're cutting, you can really use that motion, right, to cut through the whatever you are. Whereas santoku is a little bit more straight. That's why, again, I told you it's more of a push. You can definitely pull, but really good for pushing. This definitely takes the win for the slicing cuts. So yeah, there you have it, the Gyuto knife. 8 hours later, and our chashu looks pretty good. So hopefully this is really well marinated, and we'll take a look and we'll be ready to actually top our ramen. I'm just gonna start slicing a few. This is the end cut. That's a perfect slice on this large piece of meat, and get a pretty even slice. Let the knife do the work, just slide it through. And what I'm gonna do here today is go the little extra mile, and I'm gonna torch them to make some aburi chashu. Aburi means torched. So here, I have my burner here. So you don't wanna burn your house down, so make sure you don't have any paper around you. The way to go, but if you're really trying to up your game, first of all, boil your noodles in a larger pan, right? So this might be a little extra, but always bigger the better. So boil that. Let's see how many minutes that is. 4 minutes. All right. I'm gonna set it to 3.5 because I want a little firm. And while we do that, we're gonna prepare our soups. So we have our soup base here. So we're gonna add this to the bowl. And you can see in this soup base, right? Maybe it's not the powder type. And there's a little bit fat already in there. But today we're gonna go that extra mile, that oil that we've created, that black blackened garlic oil. I'm going to add just a little bit of that to our ramen. Not too much, because this thing is slightly bitter, but it's going to add that extra depth of flavor. So you can see that this black oil. So maybe just 1 spoon. Add that into here. And that will really elevate that soup base. So we'll wait another 2 minutes or so until the noodles are ready. And right before we take the noodles out, we'll add some fresh hot water into this bowl and then get to the plate. First, add some negi that I've chopped up earlier here on top of the soup base and the oil. And by adding some fresh water here, it'll really bring out that flavor of the oil. Okay, that is our soup base. And next, we have the noodles. Make sure you drain all the water, all the excess starch. Then you can add it to your bowl. It's looking good already, isn't it? What you want to do here, you're going to straighten out the noodles just for the visuals. Kind of like that. Pull it up. There you go. Then for the final, we're gonna add some green onions. And I like to have a lot on there. I'm gonna do a lot. And then some woodier mushrooms. Right, these are boiled. Just gonna add them to the side here. And then our main topping of the night is this chashu. Right, and if you want to be greedy, you can add 2, but this looks already good. And we'll add that egg. All right, looks pretty good. And then lastly, don't forget your nori. Put it in here. And then there you have it. Pork chashu ramen. As authentic as it gets. Start with your chashu. Make your flavored oil. And they won't even know that this is instant ramen. So good. All right, so thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the ramen video this time. We featured the Gyuto. So if you guys are interested in making this, check out the descriptions for recipes, and you can also find a little link with a discount code for our knives, so make sure you check them out. See you on the next one.